Welcome to my channel Anime Land, a channel specializing in analyzing characters in the One Piece movie series. Following the theories about the One Piece ending in the previous video, in this video we will talk more deeply about Kuma's power, as well as who the traitor in Luffy's crew is. And according to what happened in chapter 1074, Monkey D. Luffy finally declared war on Im-sama, also known by Egghead Roger as Emu D. Judas. And Luffy's first act as a Yonko was not to eat meat but to devour the world government with all his might by kidnapping Dr. Vegapunk. But what does that have to do with the traitor and Kuma's power? Today, I invite you to learn about the traitor in the Straw Hats and Vegapunk, the combined power of the devil fruit. After chapter 1074, it seems that what is happening will set the stage for the theory in the previous video that Bonnie will combine Kuma's Nikyu devil fruit powers with the sun god's powers to bring Luffy back in time. Because the point is that this chapter is in the memory Kuma left at Dr. Vegapunk's lab. In chapter 1072 Vegapunk considered Kuma's ability to turn invisible things into visible matter as a scientific step, so he asked Kuma to use Nikyu's ability to bring out a part of his memories. Currently, it is still uncertain what the real purpose of Dr. Vegapunk's request is, because memory is still considered as a priceless thing and it is also something that is not easy for others to know. However, as a result, Kuma still accepted to follow Vegapunk's words, leaving a part of his memory. That's why I suspect that the Doctor has secretly created a plan to combine devil fruit powers as in Egghead Roger's hypothesis. Rather than simply creating an army of Seraphim Kuma to combat, at least so, besides, I don't think that Nikyu's ability is just to materialize invisible things into visible things, but it is also a tool to make everyone in the world know about the empty century truth. Because in the present with the shocking scenes from Morgan he uses the lying formula to put all the blame on Luffy for kidnapping Vegapunk, and declared total naval war. Originally this name Morgan really likes to grab the title sentence. So if this article is released, it will turn Luffy into someone the world hates. Therefore, if there is a time travel, the possibility that Nikyu will be the tool to extract Luffy's memories for the whole world to know. However, in exchange, you will lose that memory. Anyway, Vegapunk's view of Nikyu's ability as a scientific advance does not simply stop him from using it to build machines with memories and emotions for humans, but maybe he is aimed for a further goal. Or is it possible that Vegapunk simply wanted to create cyborgs with feelings and wills like a human? Back to the main issue, which is the power of the Nikyu devil fruit. Egghead Roger wrote that after sending Vegapunk to escape from Egghead Island, under the protection of forces led by Sentomaru, the next arc that the Straw Hats arrived was Elbaf Island. It's just considered the best mini-arc and not a major arc in One Piece, and with a mysterious country that doesn't have too much information. What we know is that these giants have gathered the book from O'Hara to protect it. Therefore, here is also the base of a special scientific group that is unknown, and it is not known which faction it belongs to, where many devil fruit users are trained and awakened. At the same time, it also sparked the fact that many devil fruit owners combine their powers to create a whole new kind of ability, but the condition to be able to combine powers requires that the users of the left the devil must wake up. And this will be an arc where both Bonnie and Frankie, the Nikyu fruit heir, are trained to awaken. This leads to the only possibility that for the Nikyu fruit to be able to affect spacetime, it must awaken. Otherwise it will only stop affecting the pain, memory, or soul of others. As for Bonnie, her awakening will most likely also have the effect of degenerating or regressing spacetime. Through that combined power for Luffy to travel to the past 900 years ago to find out what really happened in the empty century. Honestly, Bonnie is fully motivated to overthrow the world government, as she has now witnessed a part of her father's painful memories. He was originally a child of a special race, with a strong gene, so he was beaten and tortured very pitifully since childhood. He was even forced into slavery by the celestial dragons before becoming the king of the Sorbet kingdom. It's only part of Kuma's memories, so it's unknown what happens next if Bonnie continues to delve into his father's memories. Therefore, I firmly believe that Bonnie will have the motivation to become stronger through the awakening of the devil fruit, while helping Luffy discover the secret of the empty century and overthrow the world government. And going to Elbaf will help Robin meet Saul after many years apart. And Luffy will meet for the first time Loki, the ruler of the Elbaf. However, before reaching Elbaf, both the Straw Hats and the Vegapunk clones will have to change faces with a traitor. This part is not in the theory that Ghod Roger wrote, but I guess, analyzed after chapter 1074, specifically Pythagorean was on the way to search for a wanderer throughout the laboratory, when suddenly heard a strange noise from behind. Pythagorean just came back when, boom, a big explosion happened and blew away the building. There have been many mysteries happening from throughout chapter 1071 until now. It can't be Lucci and Kaku because right now these two are lying at the feet of Zoro and Luffy. So over and over again my every suspicion lies in one of the 6 satellite bodies of Dr. Vegapunk. Because each of them holds control and understands every corner of the island. Although they were created by the same owner and are also clones with memories from the Doctor, but they are all representatives of different personality types, even half of which have captured an aspect, negative emotions from Vegapunk. And the only aim will be at Lilith, who carries a lot of evil negative emotions from Dr. Vegapunk. But in terms of sinisterness or mystery, I feel Lilith is more believable than any of the 6 clones of Drive. So I think the traitor among them is Shaka, the 01 clone from Vegapunk, who is seen as the representative of the good side, a perfect clone in every way. It is even said that he is the most perfect version of Vegapunk. I have found evidence that sounds absurd but is very convincing. The first is that when a rising Yonko like Luffy approached the shores of Egghead, Shaka acted as if he already knew everything, because he was the one who had control of all the Kamiko around, thereby seeing every move of the people around the island. But when CP0 arrived on the island, somehow Shaka didn't know anything, while the Kamiko at that time was still functioning normally, not to mention in chapter 1068 Shaka also had a very innocent question as to how they can cross the port. Besides, unlike the other clones, only Shaka has a satellite antenna on his head. I suspect during Lilith's argument that he silently used it to disable the polar ring from a distance, making it impossible to. Does anyone doubt themselves? Another detail is that in chapter 1074, just starting the chapter, Shaka looked through Kamiko and claimed to know exactly where Bonnie was but couldn't see Vegapunk. Then suddenly jumped to the next frame, the Kamiko gets calcified and then loses track, especially why Bonnie and Vegapunk are always together. Why does Shaka only say that she can track Bonnie? He then said that since he couldn't see the sign of Vegapunk, he couldn't get out of the polar ring, and that if he tried to get out he would be killed by the laser. These events, is it too coincidental? Anyway, if Shaka is really a traitor, what is he plotting? I think Shaka is an almost perfect version of Vegapunk. If you look back in the past, you will see that Vegapunk wouldn't risk his life and efforts to serve Dragon's anti-government forces, in which he chose to go compromise, live under government protection to be able to study freely. So it's not excluded that Shaka brought this mentality. He used the antenna on his head to determine that the Marines were in action, and even learned that one of the 5 elders was appearing. So it's impossible to get rid of someone as strong as the Admiral or the 5 stars. Moreover, the ultimate authority to control the Seraphim is the 5 elders, so if one of the 5 elders comes in person Egghead, the exit door is considered to be 0. A pacifist, Shaka secretly compromised with Saturn by handing Luffy over to the authorities in exchange for Dr. Vegapunk's safety. In addition, the current Straw Hats are in Shaka's hands thanks to the shoes they are wearing. As long as he wants to, no one in the Straw Hats can't move, so Luffy is now to deal with is the traitor. As for time travel, according to Ghod Roger's hypothesis is real or not, we have to wait for the following chapters to find out. In the video there may be some mistakes, or inappropriate comments. You can leave your comments in the comments section below. See you in the next videos.